Hi coaches, Derek here. In this edition of The Breakdown, I'm going to discuss why we need to give players more credit for their capabilities. Now, I'm a huge fan of getting players involved in practice and shifting responsibility. An example of coaching that really impressed me was when I had the privilege of working with our National Rugby Sevens program. Andy Friend was the coach at the time, and I loved how he would always give his players a voice during training. When they would debrief between activities, it was always the players that were the first ones that would provide their input, and Andy would only speak up if he felt there was something he needed to add. Usually it works the other way around. It's the coach that talks first, and then the players get to speak if they're lucky. But we know from research that as players develop expertise, their ability to recognize, assess, and correct errors improves dramatically. So you don't have to be fixing every little thing or tell them what they should be doing. A lot of times they'll already know. One of the first projects I did as a grad student involved basketball players shooting over a screen and they couldn't see the basket on the other side. It always amazed me that as soon as the ball left the players' hands, a lot of times they knew whether or not they were going to make or miss the shot, even though they couldn't see the basket. More coaches need to recognize this experience and give players credit for what they know, rather than trying to spoon feed them or hold their hand all the time. I mean, think about it. If you've got a player who's 17 years old and has been competing since they were 10, they've got 7 years of experience under their belt. That's probably thousands of repetitions of skills. So ask them what they need to do to improve and see what they think. They might surprise you with some of the answers they give you, or at the very least, you'll start to get a clue about where their head is at. If your assessments are miles apart, you can start to figure out what you need to do to close that gap. Coaching is a partnership. You don't have to do it all on your own. Lean into their expertise. That's it for this edition of The Breakdown. If you want to learn more, go to www.derekpanchuk.com and subscribe. Thanks, coaches, and keep growing.